How do I look? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Chris, so tell me, what are you thinking about the elections this year?
What do I think about the elections? It has been a very unusual election season. As far as I know, this is the fewest candidates we've ever had run. I think we had 8 people run 2 years ago, and that was the lowest. So because of that, I hesitate to make any predictions because when you have 6 people vying for 3 seats, and you've got 3 people running kind of as a slate, and then you've got people endorsing the other 3, it's almost as if we're at a 2-party system. And so I think because only having 6 people run, everyone's vote totals are going to be higher than they normally would be, and that's assuming like not a lot of people aren't just dislike the field in general and aren't voting. So I think like everyone will do pretty well. I think it'll be a close election. The election's been interesting because there's just certain strategies that I think have kind of fallen by the wayside. You know, some people, I think most people have only done 1 mailer. I've always traditionally done like 2 mailers. I've always tried to have like more of a presence online, you know, with my blog and whatnot. And I've seen a few other candidates do that. I've seen Michael's got his website, Dave Lewis has his website, Tanya's been active on social media. But and everyone showed up for the forums, which, believe it or not, is unusual because typically like attendance at all the different forums, especially the PAC forums, has been hit or miss. I mean, you've got some people who choose to boycott the PAC forums, but almost everyone attended almost every forum. And personally, I thought it was the greatest set of forums we've had in this election. I thought everyone performed really good. I thought some people did better than others, but I'd say for the most part, all the candidates did pretty good in the forums.
Do you think the low number of candidates will affect the number of voters this year?
It would have to. It would have to. I mean, again, it's every time like someone's gotten in the 600 vote range, that's been when you've had 11 or fewer candidates. I think the year where you had the three winners got 600 votes, there were only 9 candidates. So my guess is I think everyone's vote totals should be higher. Yeah.
And what about, you think this is a trend? Do you think this will continue to have a low number of candidates, or do you think it'll build back up? Or
That's hard to say, but the trend over the last 4 elections has been fewer candidates every year. So I don't know if I think part of it is every year you've always got the people who just kind of show up for nomination day and throw their hat in the ring, and nobody knew they were running. And my observation is this year nobody did that. I think almost everyone who I knew was going to run, I knew like a week or 2 before the election.
in the past few years, enrollment has been the big issue. Do you think it still is the main issue this year and will continue to be?
No, I don't think it was the main issue this year. Even though it's on the advisory votes, I've gotten almost very few people have talked to me about enrollment in this election cycle, and that's very unusual. I think people who I've corresponded with have wanted to know about, you know, the cannabis vote. One person wanted to know what the tribe does about same-sex marriage, you know, and I explained to them we're starting to offering marriage license for same-sex couples in tribal court. But the observation I've been is that openness and I don't like to use the word transparency, even though that's what I'm talking about, because it's become, some people view it as a campaign buzzword, but I do think a lot of people who I've talked with are wanting to see more openness in the tribal government. And I think you saw that in Eugene, where some people didn't feel that they knew what was on council's minds when certain decisions were made. So if there was to be a theme for this year's election and a bunch of sub-themes, I'd say the number one theme for me has just been openness and communication from the government and from tribal council.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about the advisory votes? Is there any one of those votes you'd like to see come back really strongly in favor of us pursuing?
The one, okay, if I'm being honest, the one I'm intrigued about the most is the cannabis, because it's uncharted territory for this tribe, and I know that there's a lot of people who have objections to us getting into what they view as a drug, but you know, it's legal in Oregon, it's legal in a lot of states across the West, and there does seem to be like a bit of a generational thing going on, because a lot of people I know who oppose the tribe getting involved in cannabis in any way tend to be kind of from an older generation, and so that is one of those issues where I've noticed the generational difference. And I just think as more tribes consider it, I'm really curious to see what our general membership feels about that particular topic.
Do you think more people will say yes to the medical marijuana and the hemp than the recreational, or do you have a
Somebody
feel for
who
that?
called me last weekend, after I explained it all to them, that was precisely how they were voting. They were going to vote yes on the medical marijuana, yes on hemp, but no on recreational marijuana.